Let's dive into quality of life.
Yeah, there was some terrible little festival that we were playing. I was working really hard to make this day a little bit better. And Dierks walked up and just was like, you're like so much more than like your title says. Like you really are like quality of life manager out here. And I was like, oh, I like that. I kind of played it off, but then he kept saying it. And he said it on stage a couple times when I would bring something out onto the stage. And that's when it's like, okay, I guess this is sticking. And it's fun because I do think that my specific role is that I do try to make sure that our quality of life, be it Dierks or all the way down to whoever the runner is for the day, I want the quality of life for everybody involved in the day to be high. They deserve to have the best day of their lives just like I do. I'm always going to try to make our crew 100% happy every day. And if I can hit 80%, I have knocked it out of the park.
True.
I don't think I've ever hit 100, but I do try.
Welcome to the Gigs Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Sanz, founder and CEO of Gigs, the professional career platform for the live event industry. On this podcast, we are talking to the very best in the touring and live event industry to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, and the unreal moments of life gigging and lessons learned on the road. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Josh Castle, who is currently on tour with Dierks Bentley as the quality of life manager, which we will get into what that job even is. For over 17 years, Josh has worked on some of the biggest shows in entertainment, including the Super Bowl halftime show, the Academy Awards, CMA Awards, ACM Awards. His roles have ranged from production assistant to talent manager and everything in between. But no matter the title, his mission remains the same: to bring joy and improve the day of everyone around him. Josh, welcome to the Gigs Podcast.
Thank you. This is awesome. I think I might be the most underqualified person you've ever had on here.
Not true. Not true.
I love being the personality hire. So let's go.
The personality, isn't that what quality of life manager is?
I hope.
Half personality hire.
I hope it's more than half. Yeah, personally. But
we're going to get into this, and you're a dear friend and we've gotten to work together. And so I'm really excited about this, but I want to start, you're known as the tour dad on tour with Dierks Bentley, but I want to start with your first gig where you got a golf cart stuck in a tunnel.
I sure did. That was at CMA Fest right out of high school. I mean, I'm talking like 2 weeks post-graduation.
Whoa.
I grew up in Nashville. There's like 4 of us left. It's like my siblings and I and Nate Bargatze, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. And so anyway, my family was not involved with music at all. We were around it constantly though. And I can remember in 5th grade, forming a little boy band because we wanted to be in sync and like being certain that we were going to get signed because one of our friends' dads worked for Jive, which, was the label. So even though I wasn't a Nepo baby, I'm definitely a Nepo cousin. I'm not too ashamed to admit that because I had the benefit of knowing my entire life and growing up 2 doors down from the executive producer of the CMA Awards, Robert Deaton, who kind of got me my foot in the door as a must hire, quote unquote. That is a nickname that came to stick later that week after I got that golf cart stuck. So fast forward, I am the youngest guy on this team of talent wranglers in my first ever real job. I say job, it was volunteer. I wasn't making any money. And so I was driving this golf cart around all these cool college kids, and I was not yet a cool college kid.
Why were you driving? Talk about what CMA Fest entails.
Sure. So we do it at the Titan Stadium, and there's a bus lot up top that all of the artist buses will park at. And the talent team is in charge of getting those talent, singers, performers, bands, whatever, down to the stage, which is all the way down on the field. And there's a huge tunnel you have to go through, all kinds of moving pieces inside the stadium. And so it is up to the wonderful people driving the golf carts who have all of 5 minutes of training to get you from your bus down to the stage. And so it's my first day.
And barely a license.
Yeah. I was like, I had my license for 2 years at this point.
There you go. Yeah.
And was still probably should have had it revoked.
Must hire.
Yeah, exactly. Must hire. And so it was at nighttime, first day. I am a very shy person when you first meet me, believe it or not. I know that people who know me probably don't believe that at all. But I was very timid, very quiet. I hadn't really made friends that day or anything. And it was nighttime, first show, and it starts just storming like crazy to the point where they have to evacuate.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody has to go into the concourse or down into the tunnel. And I had my golf cart positioned on stage left to take bands and artists up back to the bus lot from stage left. And that also happened to be like the wheelchair like accessibility lane. And so all of the people in wheelchairs or scooters or anything are just flooding this hallway. And there's my golf cart just right in the middle of it. And I barely know how to put this thing in reverse.
Oh, no.
And when I do, it makes the loudest beep you've ever heard and ruins everyone's day. So I'm sitting here trying to get my cart back up to the top because now I have to go seek shelter too. So I'm on a Burger King style microphone getting yelled at like, you got to come, you got to come. I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. But I couldn't move my golf cart. It was stuck. Like it was
With
stuck
all
in
the
a sea of
wheelchairs?
people.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And so me and 3 strangers got on a corner each and picked this thing up and turned it around 180 degrees. And then I drove away as embarrassed as I could ever be. And I don't think that my boss at the time has any idea that happened to this day. She's probably going to find out right now.
You picked up a golf cart?
Yeah, me and 3 strangers. Yeah, we're still pen pals. We keep in touch.
Mr. Incredible.
No.
Wow.
Not even close.
Okay. Well, you didn't destroy anything. That's not as bad as I
No,
thought it was
just
gonna
my
be.
ego.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Just embarrassment. Yeah.
that's fine.
That's a good start. So that's like is that your first gig?
That was my first real gig.
Yeah.
I had some experience like doing some seat filler and a little bit of talent wrangling on the Dove Awards when I was in middle school and high school, but very, casually.
Yeah.
Like nothing crazy. More of like I get to see what this looks like rather than really be in it. If that makes sense.
Got it. So you're in it. You're stuck in a tunnel. You get out of it. What is next for you?
Next is waiting for my boss to tell me that I'm not coming back the next day.
Oh.
But I did, which was cool. And I guess nobody found out that happened, which is really cool.
Love.
So I did. I came back the next day and they asked me to come back for the awards later that year. Also volunteered. Then at some point down the line, I started getting a very small paycheck. We're talking like $125 for the whole week. And I thought I thought I'd made it.
Entertainment
like, that
business.
is it. Like
He's rich.
I'm rich. And so fast forward, I'm doing all of these different CMA events and I'm doing other live events. And at some point, I've gone from volunteer talent wrangler to dressing room assistant to dressing room coordinator to green room manager to talent manager, all of this. And at one point, I was at CMA Fest years later, standing in the dressing room, which is, by the way, the best place to be in that whole stadium. If anybody is looking, because
And why?
it's air conditioned and has food and drinks and
Love.
just saying, come visit. But I was standing there with Dierks Bentley's crew, who was there and doing a show, I guess. And they had a dressing room and their production assistant was outside. And I had nothing to do. So I was standing there waiting for the next thing. It's very slow during the day sometimes. And so she and I got to talking just about what tour life was like and what I did, what she did. And I kind of casually mentioned like, man, I've never really thought about it, but I kind of do think touring could be fun. I would like to try that sometime. And she was super cool. Danny Gore, she's awesome. She said, yeah, if there's ever anything that pops up, I would be happy to let you know. And so we went our separate ways. The show happened. And about a month later, Danny calls me and says, hey, so this is really random, but I actually just took an elevated role on a different tour. And there's a few weekends left.
Did you say elevator?
Yeah.
What is that?
No.
Okay, got elevated. Got
it. She took an elevated role on a different tour. And so her position was open on the Dierks tour for however long. I think there were 6 weeks left on the run, something like that. She was like, would you want to do it? And I kind of froze. I was like, oh. And then I looked at my bank account. And then I said, yeah, I would. I would really like to do it really bad. And so I did. I came out that next weekend and she showed me the ropes. And years later,
As what? The PA?
I was the PA.
Okay.
Yep. I was a PA, and it was way harder than any thought. I never thought it would be as hard as it is.
Yeah.
It was such an eye-opening. That first day in particular was like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Why? What parts of it were so difficult?
The first thing that you need to know about touring, anybody that wants to tour, the hours. Oh my gosh. You're not ready. Humans are not meant for what we do. It's like human evolution has not reached the point that we can function on 3 hours of sleep over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And especially you can't do that and expect to be happy all the time. So that schedule of those like 18-hour days plus was a big eye opener for me, even though I'm used to production life. Like that was nothing new, but doing that day in and day out was a lot. And it's just at that point on that tour, my position was nonstop. The moment I woke up to the minute that I would go to sleep, I was doing something.
Yeah.
I didn't sit down. And so
can you talk about those responsibilities
Sure.
for anyone that wants to be a PA? The moment you wake up and get off the bus, what are you doing?
Yeah. So when I was the PA, I would wake up and immediately would grab a cart full of signs, and I would start going around and putting up signs to, this is the dressing room, this is catering, this is the stage, this is the bar, like whatever it is. Every tour is a little different, so their signage may vary, but we have a lot of different facets to our tour. And I usually the night before would have assigned the dressing rooms on some sheet just so that I had a leg up and didn't have to at least do that in the morning when I woke up too.
Yeah.
So I'd start doing that. I'd check in on catering. I would wait for load in, and then I'd load in all the office stuff. I'd load in all the dressing room stuff. I'd load in all the bar stuff, and anything else that was kind of just floating around and needed a home. I was usually the catch-all guy that would make sure it found its home.
Yeah.
And then you start setting up the dressing room, and you set up the office, and you set up the bar, and then you do bus stock. And
What's bus stock?
Bus stock for a PA is when you go onto the buses and just kind of take inventory to make sure that whatever is on your list as far as like, hey, we have wheat bread on this bus and we have Budweiser on this bus, like whatever it may be, that you're never running out. Because a big part of, and we'll get into it, but the quality of life on the road is making sure that you can feel as at home on the road as possible.
Yeah.
Because it essentially is your home. So part of bus stock is making sure that all of those things are always there, that nobody's missing the things that make them feel the most like themselves day in and day out.
Yeah.
So we had 4 or 5 buses at the time. I'd go through that, give my list to the runner, give the runner cash. Then I would figure out what we needed for dressing rooms, because we didn't have riders fulfilled. We would do a buyout, and so we'd buy it every day, which was really exhausting. And
so what do you mean by don't have the riders filled out?
So a lot of times an artist or a tour in a venue will send a hospitality rider along with whatever production rider they have. So anything that's in the sky, like staging wise, that comes from the production rider. Anything that's backstage in the dressing rooms would typically come from the hospitality or catering rider.
Yeah.
Other tours do things differently. A lot of them will send in their rider and say, this is our list of things that we need, whether it's spring water all the way down to, this is the $300 bottle of champagne that's an absolute must. We cannot perform without it, kind of thing.
Yes.
On our tour,
same.
Yeah, I mean that's
I cannot perform without.
And I appreciate you fulfilling that for me today.
I need Camus wine.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
would not have been here if it was. You guys can't see it, but it's over there.
Yeah. No, you had a rider. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so our hospitality rider is a little different because we do a cash buyout instead of having the venue fulfill everything for us day in and day out. Because sometimes you have things left over from the day before. You don't need everything. Sometimes you want something different.
Yeah.
And so while our rider on my end looks the same as to what I would be shopping as a PA, it doesn't necessarily look the same every day for the venue.
Yeah.
So we did a buyout. I would purchase things every day in addition to bus stock, in addition to whatever little things we need for the show that day and things that pop up. So it's a lot of just like fulfilling needs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, that's essentially what a PA does, is fulfill the needs that no one else can fulfill.
For everybody.
For everybody.
The artist, band, and crew.
Mm-hmm. Our crew is our camp, I guess, is a little different than most, because a lot of tours will have the ABC structure, where there's the A party, the B party, and the C party. We don't really have that on the Dierks team, which I kind of love. Mm-hmm. I'm very fortunate, and I want to shout out Dierks in particular because he is the best guy.
Yeah.
And he makes touring so much easier than it could be. And he has never said no to me when I come with some crazy idea and lets me run with it.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate that I can talk to the artist that way.
Yeah.
Even as the lowly PA at the time, I could still have a conversation with him and make sure that he has what he needs and that the band has what they need and the crew. So it really
that's not
is.
Often. Yeah, that's not that often.
It's not. No, it's not. And it really is taking care of the top all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back a little bit, so you're setting up, you make sure catering is ready. You are also managing the runners every day that come.
We have 3 runners, and our assistant tour manager would typically assign them.
Got it.
There'd be one for me, one for her, and one for the opening acts to share.
Yeah.
So I'm not managing all 3, but I am managing mine.
Yeah. To get all the things that you need to stock.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was first, like I think my first tour, I was seeing the production office, and the PA would set up that room, which would include all the desks and the printer and spaces. And I thought it was so strange that people would at their desk have like little knickknacks they would put out. And then I just was like, why waste the time to put a cute little knickknack on your desk? And then I was at one of those desks at that time. I was like, I need so many fun things to make me feel like it's a weird, can you talk about that? Of like, how do you make an empty, gross, smelly arena hockey locker room feel like your office for the day?
So, like I said a second ago, it's so important to take these smelly old buildings and make them feel like home in any way that you can, because they are your home that day. And that bus that you ride is your home, at least for every weekend of a summer, if not longer. And so it's a hard thing to live on the road and live at home at the same time. It's 2 different lives. And there's no real way of explaining that until you do it.
Yeah.
Because you have your home life that's very much at home, whether it's with your spouse, with your friends, with your family, whatever it is. But the second you're on the road, that life is completely different because you're with roommates now.
Yeah.
And so you're literally living in 2 different places, lots of places, but the bus being the second. But
you have to, though, get into that mindset, because I feel like once I saw tour as like, oh, I have to leave home to do this, I stopped liking tour, and I didn't.
That's fair.
Yeah. But you have to be like, this is my other home, and I like it.
Yeah. And sometimes you like it more than others.
Yeah.
But like those little knickknacks on the desk, like having a tablecloth that you put out, whatever it is that makes you feel at home when you're sitting at that desk.
Yeah.
And when I was a PA, I could not understand how on earth that mattered, because I didn't have time to sit at a desk.
Right.
I was running around like crazy. And so I was like, this bobblehead, this does nothing for me. And then I got to sit at the desk one day and was like, oh, I do want stuff. And so I have like the most ridiculous things on my desk now. Like truly, I have like a name placard that has my name that says Quality of Life Manager that our assistant tour manager, Kelsey, gave me. And I have a framed picture of Kermit the Frog. And when people ask why, I just tell them so that I can remember why I do this. Which makes no sense at all, but it brings me joy. And like one of the things that our crew in particular in our office does, our production team carries 2 rubber snakes. Okay. And so we will put a snake at the door of our office and then somewhere else, typically in the hallway or, a little corner that someone might go in, so that whenever somebody comes in the room, they freak out because they think there is a snake right there, and it never gets old. And that little prank that we play on the locals gives us so much joy day in and day out. It's like, it's part of that feeling at home.
Oh, the Dierks crew comes through and it's like, oh, these tricksters. Rubber snakes.
I'm sure they call us a lot of things, but that's definitely one of them.
That's hilarious. What other like pranks have you guys done? Or and we're gonna let's dive into quality of life.
Yeah.
And what led to that promotion or that move into that world, and why is that? Yeah, we kind of touched on why it's important, but why is it important to you?
So I can't tell you exactly where I was when it happened, but I know that there was some terrible little festival that we were playing, and I was busting I was working really hard to try to make this day a little bit better. And I think Dierks had just driven up. We have a Jeep that we travel with that anybody can use, but I think he had taken it out to go get coffee or something.
Yeah.
And he came back, and I was production coordinator at this point. I'd been elevated and had somebody that was working with me and all of that. And
what is the difference?
There's a big difference.
Tell me.
And for what it's worth, like my production coordinator job doesn't look the same as someone else's, because I don't do the travel on our tour, which typically is the biggest thing that a production coordinator does.
Got it.
Our tour manager, Chris Thacker, shout out, who's been on the show.
Shout out.
Been on the podcast. He handles all the travel because he likes it. I've even asked, like, I'd love to. I'm happy to do some, and he just really enjoys doing it, which is totally fine. But the production coordinator does have that desk. Like, that's part of it, is sitting at the desk and having a little bit more managerial status in that, if you have a PA, you're in charge of that PA and just making sure that gets set up, making sure that after shift food is ordered. It's a lot of just making sure that daily checklist, whether it's yours and the PAs or anybody else's, the runners, is checked off every day.
Got it.
And that there's no tension in the crew that can't be solved by buying a tray of cookies. Like the goofiest little things, but the things that matter. Like,
yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you're elevated to that. And you're reporting as PC directly to the tour manager and the production manager? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's the way our structure is set up. And so, there was a day that we were at some terrible little festival, and me and Jenny, who was with us at the time, were running around doing something. And Dierks walked up and just was like, you're like so much more than like your title says. Like, you really are like the quality of life manager out here. And I was like, oh, I like that.
Let me go get a tattoo of that.
Yeah, it's time to change my email signature, I think. And like I kind of played it off, but then he kept saying it. And he said it on stage a couple times when I would bring something out onto the stage. And that's when it's like, okay, I guess this is sticking, which I'm not mad at. And I also think I might be the only one in the world, so that's fun too.
True.
Very exclusive. And
I need to add it to gigs as an option to add.
Yeah, you should. And then I'll be the only one that applies.
Yeah, sorry, it's actually been it's been taken.
But yeah, like his manager started using it in emails too, and I was like, okay, that's my title. I like it, and it's fun because I do think that my specific role, which is unlike anyone else's on the road, is that I do try to make sure that our quality of life, be it Dierks or all the way down to whoever the runner is for the day, I want the quality of life for everybody involved in the day to be high. I think that's important. It's important for me, having been that PA, knowing how miserable days can be.
Yeah.
I never want any PA or any runner or any venue person that's being treated poorly to feel that way. They deserve to have the best day of their lives, just like I do, every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So how do you make it a good day?
Well, I almost never do, but I always try. My motto is that I'm always going to try to make our crew 100% happy every day.
Amazing.
And if I can hit 80%, I have knocked it out of the park.
True.
I don't think I've ever hit 100, but I do try.
Try harder.
Try harder. There's this, I don't know. Have you ever seen this is a tangent. We can cut this maybe, but have you ever seen the Disney Channel original movie Brink?
No.
I'm dating myself here
yeah.
a little I'm not that
I'm
old.
96. When were you born?
A little bit before.
Okay,
that.
sorry.
Just a little bit. I am a 90s baby.
Okay.
Barely. But there's a Disney Channel original movie that played all the time when I was a kid called Brink. And it's where he's a skater and he's like going against a rival skate team.
Yep.
They're Team Pup and Suds, and the other team's kind of like the uppity popular kids. And they're in this competition at the end, and their team's losing. Brink's team is losing. So he goes up to his mom and his sassy little sister. Says, "Mom, I don't know what's going on. I can't do this. Everything's going wrong." Something like that.
I'm sure.
I think that's a direct quote. But then the little sister comes up, goes, "Hey, Brink, I got some advice for you." He says, "What?" She says, "Skate better." He goes, "Skate better. Skate better. Mom, that's all I got to do is skate better." And I loved that quote, as silly as it is, because that's what you got to do. If you're not skating well, then skate better.
Just be better.
Yeah, exactly. So every day I wake up and I put on my Heelys. I wish so bad. I am going to get Heelys at some point. It's the worst thing you could do on tour. Do you really?
I do. I would like hold on to a bike on tour.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've like flirted with it many times, and our production
them.
manager really doesn't want me to get them.
Oh my God.
But
it will change your life.
I could skate better.
You skate better.
I wake up every day and I try to skate better.
Yes.
I try to be better than I was the day before. I mean, just in life in general, I try to go to bed and wake up go to bed a better person than I was when I woke up.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Which I also fail at every day, but that doesn't mean I don't try. And that's the same on the road. Like there is no reason that when I walk into a venue on any given day and work with whoever at the venue I'm working with, that I can't be the best person they've ever worked with. And I almost never will be, but I can still try.
Yeah.
Kindness is free. I'm not going to be happy every day, especially those 3-day runs. On that third day, it gets pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be kind, and I'm going to do my best to give them my best. And if they give me that too, then great. And so that's where the quality of life starts. It has to start with the person supplying it.
Yeah.
And my quality of life is not always very good, to be honest, but I'm a great actor. And so I will pretend.
Dang.
I will fake it till I make it all day long.
Okay.
Because that's what the job entails. Like there are days where I'm feeling, down in the dumps, but I'm going to turn on a smile and power through it and make sure that our crew has the best day they've ever had.
Okay. And when it is that third day, week 7, and you are exhausted, and you're in just the worst mood, and anything will set you off, and you do get set off, what happens? Like, what is it? What type of thing grinds your gears, and or type of person, or what will make you go crazy?
Anything that throws off my flow. If that makes sense. I feel like I will get in these just hyperfixation flows where I am crushing something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And then if I have to get pulled off, especially if it's for something I feel like is kind of dumb, like, "Hey, this bus broke. Can you fix it?" It's like, "No, I can't. But I'll figure out who can."
Yeah.
Which is not dumb. Buses do need to be fixed, but no, I can't fix it. But anyway, that kind of stuff will throw me off.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not a big external rage person. I'm not a yeller. If I yell at somebody, I'll probably end up crying. Don't tell anybody that though. Let's keep that between us here.
For sure.
Because that's just not me. I've never been that. I'm a peacekeeper, and I'm a people pleaser to a fault sometimes. So when I'm enraged, I'll find a room, and guess what? When you have the dressing room map, you know every room, including the ones that no one else knows about. And so I'll go find the room that no one else knows about, and I will scream, and I will say all of the words that I'm not supposed to say, and I will get all of the rage out, and I will take some deep breaths, and then I'll come back out smiling, and someone will see me and say, "What is that room?" I said, "It's none of your business." You've never seen this room. Go away.
Yeah. What do we call that room? The crying room? The rage room.
The rage room.
The rage room.
It truly is a rage room. Not every venue has one.
But hey, that's so healthy because I'm such an external processor. It's like if something isn't right, I need to like just bitch to someone and be like, blah, 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 which then hurts them. And then they don't need to put up with my issues. So what a way that you internally, externally, privately process. That's great.
Thanks.
I feel like that's a must for this kind of role.
There's another part of this role that I feel like it's not just quality of life manager, it's production coordinator, it's PA, it's anything that's serving other people.
Totally.
Anything in the hospitality world, assistant tour manager, any of that. I am the person on our tour, not the only person, but the person by title, whose job it is to make sure that I am pouring into other people, that I'm giving other people what they need, that if they need a sounding board, if they need to be the person that's, needs to vent, I'm somebody they can come to and talk to.
Yeah.
The PA, the production coordinator, the quality of life manager, the assistant tour manager, they don't have that person. They're that person for other people.
Yeah.
But they don't have somebody to go to and do that. And so a big thing for me was finding a circle of people that I can trust and that I can text or call and vent to. Because I also process things externally from time to time, whether I should or not.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky to have found like a great group of people that tour, that don't tour, that work in the industry, that work in other facets of the industry that I don't even know about, but they get it.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
So finding your people that you trust to see past the worst version of you and see that real you on the other side is really important.
I think it takes touring is not for everybody. I think by the end of my short career touring, I was like, man, I'm not my best person when I don't sleep. And I don't think anyone else needs to see that. I don't like it. And so, I like did a one-off for like a weekend. And by the third day I was like, I am so out of shape. So you're coming back into touring season. How do you get into touring shape after your body is like, thank you, Josh, for letting me sleep and eat well and all the things? Like, how do you get back into shape?
You hop on the Peloton for an hour and a half to 2 hours a day and you queue up Ally Love, shout out Ally Love, the only one I've ever used. And you get in tour shape real fast so that you can spend the rest of the summer getting out of it.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It's truly the worst. There is no work-life balance there. But a lot of it just starts by when you know you've got tour coming up or you've got runs coming up, you start waking up earlier than you normally would at home. You get back on that schedule. You're not going to stay up till the crack of dawn, but you're also going to try to tell yourself that you're not going to eat after show food at that show. And you are going to have a salad for at least one meal a day and no fried food. And then it all goes out the window when you get to tour, but you have that mentality going in because you try.
You try.
And so at least the mental effort is there in the preparation.
Yes. That's huge. Yeah. It's hard to say no to pizza at midnight.
Yeah. It's actually pretty impossible. Yeah. I can tell you from some pretty great experience, especially as the guy that often finds the pizza and says, oh, this is exactly what I want tonight.
Exactly. You're ordering the food you want.
Yeah. Oh, I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets of every venue that we tour. Oh, yeah. This is part of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've shared it with lots of our friends. You're probably on that email somewhere.
Wow.
Where I have spreadsheets of every venue and I have all the grocery stores that are around that venue, all the after show food options that make sense and the hours and the address and website for online ordering, places for vegans, places for other dietary restrictions, just trying to stay on top of it. Because when I first started as a PA and I was doing all of that ordering, I would do it just on the day of show. And that's not a feasible thing for a crew plus band of, at that point, 60 people. if you show up to Chipotle and you're like, hey, I need 60 burritos at 4:00 and you need it by 8, they're going to say, bye. But if you order them days in advance and you've already paid for it and you just have to give the runner the information, that helps a little bit.
And the poor vegetarian or gluten-free person doesn't have to just end up with a piece of chicken.
I've already got it marked out. I can tell you like
that's quality of life.
I mean, I just want people on the road to live their best life that they can on the road. That's essentially what my job is.
Yeah. To
do anything I can to lift crew morale, to do stupid things, to make people laugh, I make stupid videos.
Yeah, can you talk about the videos? I've seen one of these.
Have you?
I've seen the one like showing people how to walk from the bus to the showers or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was Lord of the Rings themed, and I narrated very poorly with my British accent on the way from. It was a casino in Lake Tahoe that I made that one at, and it's like a 15-minute walk from the dressing room to the shower. I happen to have a great degree in video production that I don't ever use, but I still pay for. So that's cool. And so backing up a little bit, I think a very important thing for any job, not just my job, any job, is to find a way to insert yourself into it.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, what are the qualities of you that no one else has? Like, I know there are 1,000 people we know that would be better at my job than me, as far as what the actual tasks of my job are. But they're not me because I make dumb videos. And they could too. If they had my job, they would find a way to insert their own thing.
Right.
But I make dumb videos sometimes that show you how to get from the showers from the dressing room up to the showers in a casino tower. And I put Lord of the Rings through it. And one of my favorite things that we've done is we had a 4-show run in the middle of July. It was really hot and everybody was so cranky. And I had the idea to throw Christmas in July on that last show. And so with a couple weeks notice, I let the crew know by creating a video where I rewrote the Night Before Christmas poem.
Yeah.
And inserted everybody into it in some stupid, silly way and announced like, hey, at this show in Bristow, Virginia, we're going to have Christmas in July. And I got the venue involved and they were awesome. They were all on board. We like walked in and there was Christmas stuff everywhere. Jenny, who we're both good friends with, she and I just kind of decked the halls. See what I did there? We decked the halls. We like put up a projector screen with Christmas movies. They brought puppies in. We had ice cream there. We had these little plush, squishy snowballs. We had a snowball fight after loadout. We had a costume contest. We did the same thing this year, except it was Halloween, because I got to change it up every once in a while. And so, like, same thing we did this year. Everybody had a costume contest. We had pumpkins you could decorate. Just little things like that. Like, that's the stuff that lifts that crew morale a little bit. It gives you something to break up the monotony, to have fun. Because, like, I will never forget my first, like, full tour with Dierks on our first day, where I actually met Jenny. Is Dierks stood up on the bar that I'd set up, and he proclaimed that this was summer camp. Like, he just wanted tour to feel like summer camp.
Yeah.
And I've taken that to heart. Like, there's some awesome venues that make you feel like you're at summer camp, like Guilford. And then there's some venues that don't care that you're even there. You're just another face at their building that day. But any chance that I can get to do something crazy like that, I'm going to take that chance and make the video and buy the Santa costume. And yeah.
So it's nice that you have an artist and management that is excited to have a budget for that. So how could you be creative if you didn't have a budget for this? You couldn't order whatever, you couldn't order food if it, really limited budget. How can you still brighten if you're in a van and trailer?
We all have stuff at home. Like, for Hot Country Halloween, I brought my inflatable vampire Bucky out. So that cost nothing to the tour. It just brought me joy and a spot in my suitcase. You don't have to go big to make a difference. You just have to do something. Just go. I think part of my job requirement, and anybody that serves as the PA that works with me, part of the job requirement is go the extra mile. Like, don't stop here. This is what your job says, but we need this too. And I don't know what that is. When our friend Jenny Slade was out with us, she brought an element of this that's different than what our last PA, Megan Harris, brought.
Yeah.
That's a different extra mile.
Totally.
And so that extra mile looks different for everybody. Your personality is different, but it's still a part of the job.
Yeah. And I mean, that's how you become irreplaceable, because ultimately these jobs in production, which this is, this is what I did too. You can be replaced like that. Yeah. There are so many people that want to get in. This is kind of the way in if you're just, task oriented and you can get the job done. But if you do bring that positive or the positivity or the light or the fun or the humor or opposite, but it does something to brighten people's day or make them be, not scared to talk to you, then you become irreplaceable on tour. And then you keep a gig, which I think is what everyone faces, is that gigxiety of like, oh God, what's next?
Sure.
If you know it's coming back again, that's good. Yeah.
I think it's important in that same thought that I never feel irreplaceable, that I know that I am replaceable, that the PA that works under me could take my job and be better at it than me in no time. I never want to feel invincible, because the minute you feel invincible and that you can't get fired is the minute that you're complacent.
Yeah.
And it's the minute that your work starts to slip. And I've been around plenty of those people that know they're not getting fired. Do they show up and bring their best every day? Absolutely not. Sometimes when it's a big show and they need to, or they've got family in town, a lot of times they just kind of coast through it. And there's a place for coasting. Don't get me wrong. They're long days.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel like you can be replaced, and it's not like Dierks is out here threatening me, you could be gone tomorrow. None of that. No one has ever given me any indication that my job is ever in any danger.
Right.
Except for me. And I'm not sitting here going, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I got to do a good job. No, I just know that there are other people that I've met that would be just as good, if not better, at my job than me, and would love to have it. They're not coming for it. But if I ever walked away, they could come in and do a better job.
True.
So I just want to do the best job I can. And I think by doing that and having that mindset is what keeps me employed and keeps Dierks allowing me to go do crazy things and spend a little extra money from time to time. Nothing crazy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's get into TV and award show world.
Sure.
Because you've been doing that consistently since you graduated high school.
Yeah.
Definitely in Nashville, and you were doing some others around. And how is that life different? It's still a gig, very similar duties, but what, how is that world different? And are there different rules you kind of need to follow when you're backstage those?
Yeah. I think something cool about live events and big productions, not one of them is the same. So every new one that I walk into, every new production company that I'm working with, any new talent manager I'm working with or executive producer, they're going to do things differently than the last show that I was on. So there's a learning curve at every show. It's learning personalities. It's learning work styles. Some talent departments oversee dressing rooms. Some production side of things will oversee the dressing room. And so different things are different on different shows. And I think it's helpful coming from production into touring and then going back into production while touring, because a lot of these award shows are with these artists. The artists and their crews and their management, they know touring.
Yeah.
That's what they do all the time. In the production and live events side, you know that show. You know, for example, the CMA Awards. That's your show. And you know how it runs. You've done it for however many years. And these artists are coming to be a part of your show. But when those crews show up, they're still on tour mindset.
Right.
So they're going to have questions that you might not think you would ever need to answer. Like, can I shower in this terrible locker room? Even though I live 2 miles down the road, I can't make it home. It's like, wait, you live here and you want to shower in this locker room?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we'll find a towel. Like,
we'll get some shoes for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please wear shoes.
Please wear shoes.
Please wear shower shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just things like that. I think having the mindset coming from touring, going into production is big.
Copy. So what do you think about the pace? Is the pace faster with touring or in TV world? Because I feel like you have more new characters. Like you have a stage manager or an art director and all these people that are kind of on set. You have different PAs that are responsible for different things, and you have more time to prepare for this show. Mm-hmm. What is the vibe backstage in TV world versus music?
It's a great question. It's different because on a tour, you know everybody. I've worked at a billion productions at this point, and there are people that I've worked with, or at least been on the same show with for 10 years, and I still don't know them. I see them. Like I'm like, oh, it's that guy. I even see him on a flight sometimes. Be like, that guy's here. Cool. I don't know what you do, but I know we do it at the same place sometimes. And so the scale of it is much larger. Obviously, if it's a televised thing, it's a massive scale production with so many different moving pieces. And it's different because on tour, I kind of have my hand in, or at least a pulse on every different department. In a production like that, I have my pulse on my department, which is typically the talent department, and then somewhat in the production department because we kind of work together on a lot of things. But I have no idea what the camera team's doing. I have no idea what the art team is doing. I don't even know what the set looks like until I see it on a monitor and I'm like, oh, that's why this makes sense for this song. You know, different things like that.
Why do you think they do that? Because I'm just thinking of like, you think it's just because the scale? It's so much bigger.
I think it's all about scale. Like, I don't think anybody's intentionally not trying to get to know each other. And if you work it long enough, you end up knowing each other at least a little bit. I don't think there's any intentionality behind walling people off. I think it's just there's so many different moving parts on a show like that, on these massive live events, that it's impossible for everybody to know each other and work together. The most important thing is that whoever that person is, you know that they have a job just like you do. So if they're being cranky to you or you're being cranky to them, that doesn't help anybody. Mm-hmm. You are just trying to do your job, and so are they.
Yes.
And so just be respectful.
Love that. You worked the Super Bowl halftime show.
I did.
Which year was that?
That was 2013. I want to say it was the last time the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, which we just finished doing New Orleans this year. Yeah. And that was with Beyonce.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It was wild. It was crazy. I am probably still under NDAs for all I know, but like I'll never say anything bad about an artist, but I will say that she was great to work with. Her whole team was great to work with. Very professional. I also could tell that she like ran that show, which I have so much respect for. That was such a wild experience because I'd been on CMAs, I'd even done some other bigger shows, but that is a different scale. Mm-hmm. We were down in New Orleans rehearsing for weeks. We had surprise people that were coming out on stage that we couldn't talk about. We had to make sure nothing got out. I was helping with dressing rooms for that. It was me and another girl named Jen, and we fulfilled the rider, which wasn't super duper crazy, but was still extensive. And so like we're going all around New Orleans looking for specific things because online ordering wasn't that big of a deal at that point. There wasn't a massive Amazon Prime, like you can order all these things and have them by tomorrow. Wow. And so I'm like going all around New Orleans looking for different things. Mm-hmm. But the craziest thing that happened at that show, I don't know if you remember, But that is the Super Bowl where there was a random blackout in the middle of the game. Like the power went out and nobody knew what was going on. And it was crazy because the way that Super Bowl worked, you had the Superdome where the game was being played, and we'd go on the field for the halftime show and do all of that. And then our dressing rooms were in the basketball arena next to the Superdome. And we get carted over with everybody, all the dancers, all the special guests. And so...
Oh, because football players are actually in the dressing room.
Exactly. Like there was...
not dressing room. What's it called?
A game.
A locker room? Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's like an intermission instead of halftime. Yeah. All right.
It's okay. We can talk about sports too. I'm
I don't
versed
want
on
to.
that as well.
Are you?
I am. But
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Fun fact, I'm a big athlete. Just kidding. I'm not an athlete, but I like sports. Anyway, so Super Bowl halftime show happens. And then we all go back over to the dressing room area in the other building. And then there's a blackout. And nobody knows what's going on at all. We still have power where we are in our building, but the Superdome does not.
What time was this during the show?
This was after the show, but it was in the middle of the third quarter of the game.
Okay.
Not intermission, third quarter.
Yes.
And so the game's being played, power goes out. No one knows what's going on. We're like looking on the monitors in the dressing rooms trying to figure out, is this an us thing? Is it them? And I'm getting all of these texts from random people that are watching the game that know I'm there. They're like, turn the lights back on, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, haha, this is so funny.
I'll just go.
Oh, yeah, you're actually the first one that texted me that. That's so crazy. And then I get one text from my friend Brett from the CMAs that says, hey, man, is this like a terrorist attack? And my stomach churned. I was like, that never crossed my mind. And all of a sudden, that became a much scarier situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't, power went back on.
Oh,
but
okay.
Like everything was good. But
did we ever find out what happened?
I don't know that we ever truly found out.
Someone got fired.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure multiple people did. But it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. And cheers to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's wild. You come into this world because you had a very successful neighbor, which is awesome. But you also were a musician in your own boy band. And so what ended up happening? This is at the very beginning of us talking. What happened to NSYNC?
So my fifth grade boy band that went through several different names based on whatever we were studying in school. Like at one point we were Cell, like CELL, because we were studying cells, I guess. I don't know.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the
cell.
You could have some cool fandom.
We had songs. I still know them.
Wow. Okay. Let's break out the guitar.
Yeah.
Who has it?
Thank you. No, but that band never came to fruition. But I was in a band in high school named Seraph, and we played shows all around Nashville. And still to this day, one of the coolest moments for me was seeing our name up on the marquee of Exit In.
Wow.
And then having the staff, like the house staff of Exit In, say hey, y'all can play here whenever you want. Just let us know. Like that, to me, as a Nashville kid, I felt like I'd made it.
Yeah.
Officially. Like that was it. So after high school, we all go to college. That band breaks up. And then in this weird, crazy world, I get a random call from somebody who's a songwriter who wrote a lot of the music for High School Musical and Cheetah Girls, different things like that. A lot of these Disney Channel movies. He was a good friend of one of my good friend's parents and was looking to put together a project for the Disney Channel and was just looking for local Nashville talent. And God, this is going to date me. Ready for this? He found my music on MySpace.
Ooh.
And when I say music, I mean I took a camcorder and I recorded myself playing a song repeatedly. I'd play the guitar part, then I'd play a bass part, then I'd sing it, then I'd sing the harmony, and I would just stack it in Microsoft Movie Maker enough times, and then print it back onto the tape, and then burn it onto a CD, and then somehow get it on MySpace. And this guy found my terrible, and I do mean terrible, recordings on MySpace and still saw something there. And so we got the band back together. We all of our high school band reformed under a different name, and we were called Vinyl Relay at the time, and we were this trio at that point that was being pitched for a Disney Channel project. We got flown out to LA. We met with the person who was going to be our manager, who was also managing Maroon 5. We met our publicist. All of this was being like thrown at us. Got my haircut where Madonna gets hers cut, and
made it.
I didn't even think it was a very good haircut, but still did it. And this was like first semester of freshman year.
Wow.
I thought this was right after I got the golf cart stuck, to be honest.
You're like, screw PA world. Yeah. I'm a star.
Yeah, I'm out of there. I'm going to hang out with Miley and them.
Yes.
Anyway, I thought everything was about to be handed to me on a silver platter. I thought all of my dreams were about to come true. We had songs written for us. We'd recorded them. And then one day, I just didn't hear anything again. And it all went away. And I have assumptions. I think it's because the head of Disney Channel had been fired that night before. And that project probably just disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was wild. We still continued as a band for a while and kind of changed our sounds. We weren't as Jonas Brothers anymore as they wanted us to be. And we kind of did our own thing for a bit before dissolving. But yeah, it's crazy. I thought everything was right there for me, and then gone.
How crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's devastating.
But it is a lesson
Yeah.
in enjoying the ride.
Totally.
Because you don't know when it's going to end. Like whatever your ride is, whether it's tour, whether it's music, whether it's live events, or whether it's being Pluto at Disneyland, like whatever that may be.
Maybe that's next for you.
Oh, I have an open invitation.
Okay.
To be Pluto at Disneyland. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
Well, you
I have
said
a voicemail on my phone that says, if you ever want. I auditioned.
See ya, Dierks.
Yeah, I auditioned, and I didn't know what I was auditioning for. I was living in LA, and I was broke, and I just auditioned for some random thing at Disney, and it was Pluto. And they were not going to pay me very much, and it was going to be a very long commute, and I ended up moving back to Nashville. But still have the voicemail that said, if you ever want to come back.
Okay.
So
wow,
that's retirement.
Put on the big head.
Yeah.
And that's retirement. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I want to get into rapid fire questions.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. First concert you ever went to?
I want to say it was DC Talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
Some random church, I guess, probably.
Oh,
it was some youth group thing.
Yeah.
I barely remember it. We left early, and I remember thinking that was so lame. Why do you go to a concert and leave early? That's just me.
Do you go to a concert and leave early now, or do you always stay for the encore?
Well, I mean, I do got to sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends. I almost always stay.
Wow.
Because
I'm kind of the worst, and I am like ready to go. I don't want a crowd. I do not want a crowd getting out.
I do feel that. I think it's like, how much do I like the band? Have I heard the songs that I need to hear?
Yeah.
Am I here to hear those specific songs, or am I here to hear the set?
True.
Which, as somebody that tours for a living, like, stay for the whole set. Don't leave early, please.
I know,
oh
right?
My gosh, the best part's the end.
It's true.
Especially with Dierks, it's a hot country nights. You're gonna love them.
True that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great encore, but the whole concept of encores are so silly to me.
Yeah.
Like going to a show now, I'm just like, oh, they're gonna leave, and we're all gonna stand up and cheer for them to come back on. I wonder if that will ever go away. Like, I wonder if that'll ever become old fashioned.
I hope so.
Right?
I mean, because it is already. Like,
it is.
An encore is old fashioned. The whole practice of it comes from when that was an authentic moment.
Right.
It's not authentic anymore. Everyone does it. Like, we all know, oh, you're walking off stage and it's kind of an open-ended chord. You're not really saying anything to the crowd. You're just kind of waving, and we still haven't heard you play your biggest hit. Obviously, you're coming back on stage. Like,
right. Encores used to be exciting.
You want to save time on stage?
They're coming back.
Cut out that 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And then the crew can freaking go to bed earlier. Anyways, I think the encore is strange.
But
I also don't just get some fireworks and just go out. And you know what did disappear? And now I'm just going on a rant. This is supposed to be your rapid fire, but why aren't people being lifted down under the stage anymore? Or am I just seeing the wrong people?
Like, there's not an elevator lift that takes you down?
Yeah. I want to watch someone just go down, and I want to wave to them as they go down. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to go see, like, Miley Cyrus or something.
No, I like that. Yeah.
Work on that. Work on that,
I think
please.
we're still building the set, so yeah.
Dude. All right. Yeah. Cool. Next, favorite venue that you've ever worked?
Oh, I love Guilford. New Hampshire. I
Everyone
love
says that.
Meriwether Post Pavilion in Maryland. I love a lot of venues. I feel like there's the ones I think about are the ones I don't like. But there's
Like which
not
ones?
many. Oh, I don't want to get in trouble because we're
One.
going there.
Okay.
One that I don't like. You know what? Oh gosh.
You don't have to.
I love Red Rocks as a venue. I would love to see a show there. It's iconic. I hate working it. I hate it.
Why?
Because it is such a pain because of how it was built, and it had to be built that way. But we're talking like 3 a.m. load-ins, and then you're up until 3 a.m. loading out.
Because there's no docks.
No docks.
Yeah.
Everything has to be driven up. It's just a pain.
Brutal.
The people there are great.
Yeah.
Like, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's just the logistics.
Have you written your name in the tunnel?
I have written my name in the tunnel.
Pretty cool.
It is.
Pretty worth
It's a
it,
moment.
Josh. Stop
It's a moment.
complaining.
Again, I love the venue,
Yeah.
and I'd love to see shows there.
Heard. What is one tool or item that you have to always go out on the road with? You cannot say your framed picture of Kermit the Frog.
Okay. Well, besides my framed picture of Kermit the Frog, gaff tape is like my essential tool. But more than that, like if you're on a bus, like have your own pillow. That is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Just have your own pillow that you love because you need to sleep well.
Yes. That's a great one. What is the best piece of advice you could give people, maybe in this role, in this PA, PC, assistant TM, quality of life manager role? What piece of advice would you give?
The best piece of advice I have is that you can only you can only give what you have. You can't give more than what you're capable of giving. So you have to take care of yourself. It's so important when you're home, when you're alone at the venue, like whatever it is, you have to take care of yourself in order to be able to pour into other people the way that you want to pour into others. And on the flip side, a little bit of advice for everybody that's not a PA, that's not a production coordinator, any of those roles that are to serve others. To those people, I say, respect those PAs. Just because they are the lowest person on your tour or your production, and they're the youngest and they're still hungry in theory, they are working harder than anybody else, without question. And they're getting less out of it for themselves than anybody else.
Yeah.
They're just out there trying to make $1, trying to get their foot in this door. So treat them like they could be your boss someday, because they could be your boss someday. And it's a lot of fun when you see the PAs that have risen and are in these producer roles that then get to employ the people that may not have treated them as well as they should have. Wow. So always take care of the people that are taking care of you.
That's beautiful. And don't dim their light.
Oh, no. Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Yeah.
I remember like I was so like eager and just like happy, and the amount of people that were like, oh, you haven't been touring long because you're so happy. And I'm just like, so what, am I supposed to act like you? I don't want to act like you.
There's a lot of people you see on the road and you say, I never want to be that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fear that like if you keep doing this forever, that you're going to be that person.
Yeah.
But that's up to you. You get to decide who you are. So
love that.
be the you want to be.
Be the you want to be. You are destined for Disneyland or Pluto. I love it.
If I were not touring, I would absolutely be an Imagineer.
Done. All right. I can't wait to see
That is
it.
my other retirement plan.
Okay.
I'm going to moonlight as Pluto. It's gonna be
Done.
great. Yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nikki.
This was so fun.
This is so much fun.